Welcome to Ayurveda and Spirituality with your host, Alakananda Ma, a renowned Ayurvedic expert and a graduate of a top London medical school. She is the principal of Alundi Ayurveda Gurukula, a unique apprenticeship-style school in Boulder, Colorado. She is a spiritual mother, teacher, flower essence maker, and storyteller. Join us as we uncover the timeless principles of Ayurveda, discover practical tips for enhancing vitality, and explore the deeper dimensions of spirituality that intertwine with the ancient science of life.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Let's chant. Om Ganana Amta Ganapati Gam Havamahi Kavim Kavinam Uppamashravastamam Jishtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatana Sranvanotibhi Siddhasadanam Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumedeva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Siddhi Buddhi Shakti Sahita Sriman Mahaganadipataye Namo Namaha Nirvignam Guru Ya Kundindu Tusharahara Dhavala Ya Shubravastra Vrita Ya Vina Varadanda Manditakara Ya Shveta Padmasana Ya Brahma Chuta Shankara Pravritir Bihira Devai Sada Vandita Samam Patu Saraswati Bhagavati Nisheshajatyapa Guru Brahma Guru Vishnur Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. How's the sound? Is it okay? Can you hear okay?
Yes, it sounds really good.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I can hear good too. Sorry, it took me a second to
Wonderful.
find the button.
So welcome everyone. Welcome to Satsang. Satsang is a meeting of hearts, a gathering of friends to inquire into the truth. And today we are starting on a different talk cycle, a talk cycle that's all about making peace. And we begin this cycle with the topic, making peace with our bodies. So how this particular talk cycle began, it's a little bit of a funny story. This talk cycle started, I guess, a couple decades ago when I was going through menopause. So typically every year when I would go to the Neem Karoli Baba ashram in Taos, always like to have a little chat with Maharaji. When he was sitting on his tucket, I would feel that I could talk to him and I could definitely hear his answers. And I'd fill him in about what had been going on since I last came and any problems or issues, concerns. So I'm there, I'm going through my menopause. When I went through my menopause, I cried for 3 months and then I was angry for 6 months. And I was in the angry for 6 months phase. So I pretty much thought I was the most horrible person in the entire world because I was angry like a lot. I think it's adjusting to the different ratio of estrogen and testosterone that happens with menopause was pretty challenging. And so I sit down in the temple and Maharaji says, "You are Shanti Mayi, you are the embodiment of peace." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding." And he's like, "No, I mean it. You are Shanti Mayi, you are the embodiment of peace. And you're here to bring peace to the world." I was like, I can't even bring peace to my own self. What to speak of the entire world? So anyway, that's what he said. So then I decided to create some talks on the theme of making peace, since he had given me that mission of bringing peace to the world. And seemed like we should start with what is nearest to us, which is making peace with our bodies. One thing I learned when Neem Karoli Baba told me at the height of being Mrs. Amazon during my menopause that I was Shanti Mai, the embodiment of peace, was conflict is not apart from peace. Conflict is a part of peace. And in our relationship to our bodies, it's pretty interesting because we have a very strange position in the divine order of things. We are angels in the body of beasts. It's because of this strange fact that the Koran says the angels bow in awe before the human soul, because they only have to be angels. They're to be animal angels. They don't have anything to reconcile. They're just angels. We're the angel and the ape. We're ape angels. How can we come into peace with this strange situation of being ape angels? We need to make peace with our own bodies, since we are in this very funny ape angel position. Kala Rinpoche said this body is a rented house. And at a certain point, you start getting eviction notices. And that again, Sadananda and I both noticed you get your first eviction notice around age 50. When Sadananda turned 50, he got the mother of all flus. What do you know? 3 years later, when I turned 50, I got the mother of all flus. It's the first eviction notice. You might have almost as long to rent that house as you already had if you just turned 50. But it was the first message. This body is a rented house. You keep on, as you get older and older, you get more and more eviction notices. And at a certain point, you're like, okay, I probably won't have to put up with all these problems too much longer. So here's an interesting story that I experienced many years ago when I was a young medical student. And I did my clinical elective in Tanzania. Most of the time I was working really hard on children's ward. But during our elective, we were allowed 2 weeks off. So myself and my fellow medical student and a couple of other young people rented a Toyota Land Cruiser and set off on safari. So we pull into a little village to get petrol. In America, it's called gas. We pull into a dusty little village. We park a very dusty Toyota Land Cruiser because all the roads that I ever experienced at that time in Tanzania are dirt roads. And they're dry, dusty, deeply rutted dirt roads. So we've barely started, but the Land Cruiser's already super dusty. And we park, and as we park, an elderly Maasai lady comes rushing up. She's a little bit shy at first. Then she starts to approach the rear view mirror. she looks in the mirror. Wow, and she kind of primps a little bit. Maasai women basically shave their heads. They wear all kinds of beautiful jewelry that they make, and she looks in the mirror. She goes, wow, this is me. She doesn't have a powder compact with a mirror. She doesn't have a suburban home with bathroom mirror. She doesn't have a full-length mirror. She doesn't own a mirror, and evidently at that time her tribe didn't own a mirror at all. The only time, clearly, that she saw a mirror is in the rare occasions when she comes to the village, and on the rare occasion that a car, a vehicle comes up to buy petrol at this very rural petrol pump. And she's at least 60, and she's seen herself a handful of times. There aren't exactly mirror-like lakes on those hot grasslands. So this is very interesting because she doesn't have any glamour or illusion about how she should look. She's never seen a Shape magazine. She's never seen a Cosmo magazine. No one's ever told her how she should look, but she knows one thing, that all Maasai women are beautiful. She knows that all Maasai women are beautiful, the most beautiful women in the world, and all Maasai men are even more beautiful than the women. She knows this because beauty is their culture. They spend a lot of their time making all this beautiful jewelry, adorning themselves, because that's part of their spiritual path. So in such a pure, innocent, simple way, she sees herself in the mirror. Wow, this is me in a dusty mirror. Wow. So we tend to have an image of what our body should look like. At my age, frankly, when I do look in the mirror, which happens every time I go in the bathroom, because the bathroom does have two rather old, not very good mirrors, but it does have two mirrors. I look in the mirror and I look behind me at Mom, because my image of myself as a young woman, an old lady, should be Mom, not me. However, Mum didn't exactly look like me because I look more like an elderly Tibetan woman because of the way my eyes are. So where's that elderly Tibetan woman that's appearing in the mirror instead of this like cute little elf that I thought I was? So, we've added all of our images of what we think we should like, what we think we should look like, and we've added this to what our body actually looks like. I remember Sakyong Mipam Rinpoche saying, just go and look in the mirror with your morning face and don't smile. And you'll get a real picture of your body, your actual morning face. So there's basically three ways that we relate to our bodies. In Buddhism, these are called the three root poisons. We relate to our bodies with glamour and illusion. We want our bodies to be a certain way. So maybe if I just got a better hairdo or liposuction, a new nose, a nicer dress, somehow my body would be what it's supposed to be. That glamour and illusion is relating to our body with craving. We also going to relate to our bodies with a lot of aggression. We're going to dominate and overcome our bodies. And we also relate to our bodies with immense ignorance. So we'll go through and look at these three ways that we play out the conflict that we have with our bodies. We are attached to our bodies with so much craving because our bodies are the place where we can experience our desires. We're making our bodies not just live in a natural way like animals do, we're making our bodies be the place where we express our craving. The ice cream. I told some of you the story before of when we were going to the Nama conference in Northern California. And on the way to the conference, we had some time to wait in San Jose, and we found a gelato shop. And so we passed some time having some absolutely delicious gelato, and it was pretty good. So we're coming back down, and we want to go see the sea after the conference. We want to go see the sea. There's like a seafront there, and we couldn't find the gelato shop we found before, but near the seafront, there's an ice cream shop. So we go into the ice cream shop. I should have known better. That ice cream was clearly nothing that I would ever want to eat, but somehow it was the program we were having. We were trying to recapture the wow, this is the best gelato outside of Italy experience by having a disgusting commercial ice cream, which is a recipe for a headache and the stomach feeling, yeah, which is what happened. The body was like, what? But it's only spring. It's only April. And we're like, you're going to eat this. It doesn't feel good. And of course, we can also pursue within our bodies our sexual desires and fulfill, we can gratify ourselves there. So our organs of action that are in our bodies, our organs of speech, grasping, locomotion, reproduction, defecation, continually we use our organs of action throughout the day to grab the things we want and get rid of the things we don't want. Did we get just the right cup of cappuccino today, or was it lousy? So we're always warping our bodies compared to an animal body. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and if you have a cat that sleeps with you, your cat says, "Get up, Todd, come on." And we're like, "We went to bed late. I'm tired, and I'm comfortable in this bed." And we pull the covers over our heads and we sleep a bit more. The alarm goes off. We hit the snooze button. We sleep a bit more. Eventually, we get up, and the body says, "Okay, exercise." And we say, "Nope, got to go to work." And the body says, "Hungry." And we say, "We're late. We slept in. We're late. We'll do a breakfast bar in the car." So we get in the car, and the body says, "Yuck, I can't digest this breakfast bar." We say, never mind. We go to work, sit down at work, sit in the chair, at the computer, sit at the desk, we type. And the body says, "I don't like this. I actually wasn't designed for this. Can we go running? I was designed to run. Can we go and run now? I like to run about 30 miles a day. Can we go do that?" And we say, no, because this is how we make money, which is how we survive. We have to keep you alive by making money. The body says, I don't like this. I'm going to go do tendonitis. I'll do carpal tunnel syndrome. Will you listen now? Low back pain. Are you going to listen? Yeah. I wanted to run around out of doors and you're not listening. But we keep going. Comes to lunchtime and the body says, "Okay, fruits and vegetables." And we say, "We've got a business lunch. We're going to go have spaghetti at the business lunch." And the body says, "But I don't like to digest spaghetti." And we say, "You'll have a glass of wine. That'll make it digest." Gets to be around 4 o'clock. Day is starting to settle down. The cortisol is starting to drop down. And the body says, "Can we go home and go to bed now?" And we say, "No, there's another hour and a half of work. We're going to pick up the kids. We've got a meeting. I've got this lesson. I've got that thing. I've got to check my email. Here, let's go to the vending machine, get a sugary snack. That'll keep you going." So we take some sugar, do the commute, we get home, and the body says, okay, it's 8 o'clock, bedtime. And we think, oh no, it's not bedtime yet. We've got to do the laundry, we've got to help the kids with homework, we've got to check the email, we can't go to sleep yet. The cat doesn't do that, right? The kitty cat, who got up at 5 whether we did or not, unless you don't let her or him out, the cat eats exactly when hungry, goes to sleep exactly when tired, runs around exactly when wanting to run around. But we keep relating to our bodies through craving. You're here so we can enjoy that ice cream. You're here so we can have sex. You're here so we can make money. So all day long, we're saying to the body, I'm not listening. And the body's like, I'm going to make you pay for this. I've had patients say, my feet are a real problem. My feet are killing me. You've heard that phrase, right? My feet are killing me. Actually, we're killing our feet. We're killing our feet with pointy toes and stiletto heels and funny shoes and standing all that. You'll never see me in any shoes other than a rough trails hiking shoe, because they don't kill my feet. They may not look cool, but I don't care, because I don't want to kill my feet, because it's not actually my feet that are killing me. So we just don't listen. So that was funny. I was making like a dialogue between the body and me, and we're not actually separate. A lot of times patients come in and they it their body, or they talk about some part of their body as down there. If my genitals are down there, where am I? Presumably I'm here in my head, because my genitals are down there, like they're not part of my body, even though they are part of my body. They're not part of us. So when we kind of think we're separate from our bodies, or we it our bodies, we're not really practicing Advaita or Vedanta or spirituality, like I'm not my body. Because I'm not my body means you're not your physical body, you're not your emotional body, you're not your mind, your mental body, you're not your story, you're not your personality, you're not anything, because you fundamentally don't exist. Whereas we want to believe the whole mind thing and the whole story thing. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am, and the rest thing, that's just that body thing. So we're using our body for a lot of expression of our craving for different food tastes, different sexual experiences, our craving to get wealthy, our craving to get known, our craving to look a certain way by mutilating our bodies. I have one patient who had really great biceps. They're awesome. However, just like women get breast implants, this gentleman had got biceps implants. I said, you mean they don't actually work? Because they weren't actual muscles. He said, oh, they work great for what I want to do. They work great on the dance floor. I look awesome. And this has just lately gotten worse and worse because of our dislike of getting older, and how everyone that comes on television, to me as a doctor, and we do face reading in Ayurveda, and I look at people's faces, I'm like, they've completely wrecked their faces. Their mouth is all lopsided from the Botox, right? Their forehead is completely expressionless because they can't frown anymore. Their skin is all tight. What age are they anyway? And the eyebrows get all wonky from the eyebrow job. And now we want to have these like really fat lips, which used to be like not cool, and now everyone's getting, I think it's some kind of fill they get in their lips to make them look really, really fat. Because that's the way we're supposed to look now. I wish they wouldn't do it when you're watching the news because it's very distracting. For me to have to worry about what went wrong with the person's plastic surgery and their face and their Botox and when they're going to get over the paralysis and stuff, because that's how I think. So that kind of segues into relating to our body with a lot of aggression. I had one patient, it was a while ago, they came in. They were very proud of how much weight they had lost. And they had lost the weight by doing Jenny Craig. Do you know what Jenny Craig is? They lived on tiny, teeny portions of frozen microwave foods. Not like fruits and vegetables. They live on tiny, teeny portions of any standard American bad food. I think Jenny Craig actually expects you to like make a salad as well as microwaving that food, but this patient hadn't made the salad. So she comes in with like really low prana because she hasn't eaten any real food. She's just eaten frozen microwave foods. At which point I'm like, okay, so I'm fat and I'll stay fat forever before I'll eat that stuff. I'm going to eat stuff out of my garden. In fact, my doctor, my endocrinologist, one time suggested to me, I know how you can lose weight. You can do this thing. It wasn't Jenny Craig, but something similar. I was like, you know what? I have a garden. Like I grow loads and loads of like fresh vegetables, and furthermore, I'm a cook, and I'm not going to do that thing. It's not possible. The aggression that goes into our exercise. That's why most people buy that gym membership in January, but by February, a lot of people have decided that they don't really want to go get on a machine swelling of other people's sweat, ride a bicycle to nowhere, climb the stairs to nowhere. Do we really need to climb stairs to nowhere in order to exercise? I'm very happy that we have stairs in our house because a study shows that stairs are good for your health. And running up and down the stairs multiple times a day is really, really good for your cardiac health. But why will you climb the stairs to nowhere? Back when we were in India in the villages, the women there did not have a gym, did not have an exercise machine, did not have a stationary bike, and definitely did not have a stairmaster. They're going to the well to get water, and they're coming back either with a water pot on the head and another on the hip, or a water pot on the head and a baby on the hip. Before they got the water, they had been whacking the laundry on the rock. And then before that, they had swept out the entire village with a whisk broom. Now they're going to come home and they're going to do threshing. And the whole day they're doing complex muscle building activities, keeping them strong, limber, beautiful. But they aren't thinking about, I should go do some threshing so I'll look good. They're just doing the threshing. It was just lifestyle exercise. But we have all this aggression to try to look right. And it's been completely baffling to me why we want to do our exercise indoors. I mean, yep, I do exercise indoors when it's icy outside and I haven't exercised, and I'll pull up a YouTube and I'll do a walking workout or a belly dance workout or some fun workout because I can't go out because I don't want to break anything or get a concussion going outside. But mostly in Ayurveda, we'd like exercise to also include fresh air and daylight. And of course, everyone wants to lose weight for swim when it comes to summer because they want to look the right way in a swimsuit. or they want to lose weight for their wedding so they can even fit their wedding dress. So our bodies are being pulled and pushed and fixed and worked out, and we just relate to them with so much aggression. And we also relate to our bodies with incredible ignorance because, in fact, we don't know how to eat. Ignorance, ajnana. We do not know how to take care of our bodies. That's a huge part of our work in Ayurveda, is to retrain ourselves and others to how to go through the day in a healthful way. So the quality that we need to cultivate so that we're not relating to our bodies with all this ignorance is called prajna. So you have jnana, which is that ecstatic kind of wisdom. You can only experience jnana when you're in samadhi. As you become more spiritually developed and you're able to be in samadhi in your waking state, that's vijnan. But then you have prajna, and she is seen as the mother. Prajna Paramita is the mother of all the Buddhas. She's a feminine aspect of wisdom. So she is wisdom in action. She knows what to do. Prajna means you can go to the grocery store and you don't have to start looking up lists of calories or worrying about what the Surgeon General says. You go to the grocery store, you can kind of feel out what your body wants you to buy. You can get a sense of it. Nowadays, we have so much ignorance, the Surgeon General has to tell us what to eat. And of course, with this whole low fat thing, the Surgeon General couldn't have been more wrong. It was super bad for people. So it keeps changing also. But first of all, you're supposed to eat margarine instead of butter. I saw this with my parents. They had to eat margarine in the war when they couldn't get butter. So we never had margarine in our home. Only butter, because it wasn't the war and it wasn't rationing anymore. It was rationing in Britain. And then they got older and the Surgeon General told them to eat margarine. And suddenly they stopped having butter and they started eating margarine. And then the Surgeon General says margarine, actually, it wasn't the Surgeon General because it was the UK, but same idea. Then suddenly margarine was realized to be very bad for you because it's a processed food. So things changed again. And I think then it went to olive oil. We shouldn't need someone out there to tell us what to eat. We need to be able to know what to eat. And Prajna's not going to say, you really need a frozen pizza. That's, again, going back to the craving. We crave certain tastes. We crave certain energy rushes. The other day, it was Wednesday, all day I hadn't had any exercise, whole body. Everything I was just telling you was sort of happening because I was like teaching all day, and then I was teaching in the evening as well, and even in my break time I had an important meeting, and it all went on and on like that. Everything I was telling you we shouldn't do was exactly what I did all day. And then finally I got to go out for a walk, and you have to go up the hill from here to get any kind of a walk. So I'm going up the hill, and I'm going up the hill at twice the pace I usually go up the hill, because the legs, when I go for a walk, I kind of let the legs take charge. The legs had selected a pretty brisk pace so that they could get exercise. There's one time I was teaching in Omaha. I think I was teaching a workshop to a bunch of young people, and I had been sitting for I hadn't had a walk the day before. I was doing a lot of clinic, when you're traveling and teaching, it's like that. And then there was a walk nearby. We went out for a walk. Legs took over. And I did that whole walk twice as fast as the young people. I was back when they were barely getting started because the legs said, we're really going to get going now. Another time, I might go out for a walk, think I'm going to get a good workout, and the legs are going to say, we're having a low energy day today. We're doing strolling. Okay. You might think you're going for a brisk walk, but we've decided on strolling. So it can be, that's the prajna, is to let the legs pick the pace that we need to walk at. Let the kidneys decide when we're ready to get up. Alarm goes off. I don't use an alarm anymore. I quit alarms in 2020 during the pandemic. And I have not gone back to them. And I get up when I wake up, which is reasonably bright and early, in fact. Crack of dawn. I don't need an alarm. There's daylight. And so, but the alarm goes off, as it used to go off for many years before I quit alarms. And kidney check. And either the kidneys say, okay to get up, or the kidneys say, gotta rest. So that I rest a bit longer until the kidneys say, okay, we can get up and go now. So if we can relate to our bodies, if we can listen to our bodies. I often say, quit thinking of yourself as a unit and start thinking of yourself as a universe. There are more separate living beings in our bodies than there are mammals on the planet. I'm not yet talking about our own body cells. I'm only talking at this moment about the microbiome in the gut, on the skin, all the other areas of the body where that have microbiomes. That's a massive number of separate individuals who help us digest our food, protect us from skin infections, just do so many things to take care of us because we live together and they're very nice and they like to take care of who they live with, and we couldn't manage or be healthy at all without them. Then we've got all those actual cells in our own body, the smallest unit of intelligence. They all have consciousness. The cell knows what to accept and what to reject. So that prajna includes the ability to listen to our bodies, to know what to accept and what to reject. The famous story about this is when Sadananda has a surprise birthday potluck. His birthday is today. His birthday is in April. And we had somewhat recently done our panchakarma, because March is a great time to do panchakarma. We were slowly transitioning back into our foods. So I'd given really strict instructions about what could be brought to the potluck. But some beloved friends brought a spicy eggplant sabji, eggplant curry. So it's put on our plates. Unfortunately, Sadananda thought this will help me with my potassium, and he ate it. I was raised in England in the 50s, where you have to be a good girl and eat up everything on your plate. So I tried really hard to make myself eat this eggplant sabji that was put on my plate. I eat with my hands. My hands would not pick it up. I kept trying. Come on, you've got to be a good girl. This was the eggplant sabji. No. My hand refused to touch it. I couldn't have the good manners. The eggplant sabji had to go in the compost bucket because the cells of the hand said, no, you're not going to be able to digest that, so we're not going to be able to pick it up. That's an example of prajna. When we have prajna, we know when to get up in the morning. We know what to eat. Instead of relating to our bodies with the ignorance of constantly needing all these experts to tell us what we were supposed to have, like wine was supposed to be good for you at one point, and then it became like extremely bad for you, and now it's become good for you for some things and bad for you for other things. And we talked about the whole margarine thing. So it's our inner knowing, working with our body in a way that is in touch with our bodies. So there's a really wonderful story about the Buddha, how the Buddha attained Buddhahood. The Buddha actually attained Buddhahood in the moment that he made peace with being embodied. And he made peace with being embodied only at the moment of attaining Buddhahood. The Buddha was raised in a complete life of glamour and illusion. His parents had heard a prophecy that he would go off and become a sage, and he was supposed to become the king. He was a prince. So they didn't want that to happen. So every flower was plucked before it faded, and every dancing girl was fired as soon as she got a wrinkle. So he lived in a world of ever blooming fresh flowers and ever fresh, beautiful maidens. And something seemed a little off. He got tired of always being in there. So he calls his charioteer and he says, I'm going out. And his charioteer takes him out and he sees three things. He sees an old man. He says, what's that? That's an old man. Will I too get old? Yes, we all get old. He sees a sick man hobbling along with leprosy. What's that? That is sickness. Will I too get sick? Indeed, sickness comes to all of us. He sees a corpse being carried on a bier. What is that? That is death. Will I too die? Indeed, sir, we all must die. Then he sees a sadhu. He sees an ascetic. And he thinks, that's what I should, this world is lousy. It's full of old age, sickness, and death. I should go be the ascetic. So he kisses his sleeping wife and baby goodbye while they're still asleep. And he sets off out of the palace and he sets off to embark on the spiritual path. And he performs all the austerities. And he totally stays away, doesn't even look at or think of a woman. And he fasts until his ribs are sticking out. There's a beautiful portrayal in Bodh Gaya of the Buddha looking like a concentration camp survivor, like his ribs just sticking out. And none of it's working. He's just as stupid as ever. It's just not working. He's not getting anywhere. So he thinks, I have got to get somewhere. So he goes by the river and he finds a beautiful tree, a peepal tree, which is now called the Bodhi tree. And he sits down under the tree and he says, I won't get up until I attain. But his mind is so weak and so feeble, he can't even meditate because he's fasted too much. Just then he has a flash memory. He remembers back when he was a little boy, back in the palace, when also he sat under a tree, a rose apple tree, and how he sat under that rose apple tree and he felt well-being, swasthya. He felt a sense of well-being, swasthya, to stand within oneself. He felt that well-being. And he thought, that's what I need. I've been punishing and punishing my body, but I need well-being to meditate. Right then, a woman, yes, appears before him, Sujata. She's seen him meditating and she has milked her cow and she's a cowherd. She has made some kheer, some rice pudding, and she brings it to him. And he opens his eyes and he looks the woman in the eyes and he takes the sweet rice pudding and he eats it all up. Now he's feeling well-being. Now he can meditate. So he sits, he assumes the lotus posture and he sits in meditation. And as dawn breaks over the Ganges plains, he awakens as the Buddha. But he couldn't have done it until he came into balance with his embodied state. So that's why he starts to teach the middle path, not trying to punish the body or get rid of the body, because that is nihilism, not getting identified with the body, because that is eternalism, following this middle path where we live in a grateful and peaceful balance with our bodies. In the middle path, we have made peace with our bodies. So I think that is what we need to say today. Are there any questions?
Is Caitlin asking a question?
Caitlin is trying to ask a question. Yes, can you? She says you can go first.
I think this goes back to like the Botox and all the plastic surgery, especially that women undergo. And I've been having conversations about this with my friends recently, and I think like obviously like in our society and in our culture, there's such a desire to be youthful or to look youthful, and that there's not really like society hasn't really established a place for elder women. And that's reflected in this desire to look young. And so I'm curious to know like what you think, like how could we create more space for elder women to have a place in society?
Yeah, that's kind of almost another whole topic, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But I know I go through it myself. Like, people keep telling me I'm beautiful, and then I look at all the wrinkles and I'm like, ah! Because it's hard to overcome that image that you would still look like you looked at 25, even for oneself. But yeah, I think we have equated older women with the hag and the witch and ugliness. We've equated gray hair and wrinkles with ugliness, and no one wants to be ugly or scary.
Mm-hmm.
And we kill witches, exactly, Caitlin was saying. That's really another whole topic and worth delving into in itself. What was your question?
I'll post in your Facebook group that as a request for a podcast topic.
Okay, you can post it on that list of topic requests. Yes.
Thanks. That was a great question, Zadie. Mine's not as great, but I did have a curiosity. When you're talking to your kidneys about waking up, could you just maybe explain a little bit of the physiology of why the kidneys? Thank you for tuning in to Ayurveda and Spirituality with Alakananda Ma. We hope today's exploration has ignited a spark of curiosity and insight within you.
I don't know if you could.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a 5-star review and share it with a friend. For more enlightening discussions and practical wisdom on Ayurveda and spirituality, subscribe and join our Facebook group, Alundi Ayurveda. To allow us to continue sharing valuable content, consider donating to Alundi Ashram. The links will be in the show notes. Until next time, may you walk the path of Ayurveda with grace and embrace the light of spiritual wisdom in your journey.
Have to see if the kidneys are ready for wake-up time. That's the simple answer. Yeah, Caitlin's also thinking about the adrenals. I think it also absolutely has to do with the adrenals and the cortisol cycle as well, as the kidneys and adrenals are kind of experienced by us as a unit. Yes. Okay then. So let's close for now. I'm gonna.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Yeah.